feeling that in an evangelical community to be gay is very dangerous. It's like a kind of identity that you will can have enormous consequences. And we see that like a father of one son who suspects that the son might be gay really punishes him in kind of like very esoteric and horrible ways, like I won't get into it by going into too much of the nuance of the book, but in a way that's really shocking. And I think that casts a shadow over the ways that people are free to be in their bodies, are free to show who they are free to maybe have even any kind of crack in their masculinity that might be considered queer or gay, because it's scary. There's like a something waiting for you that is really like cloaked in violence. So I think even though Max maybe didn't have all the context for what could happen to him, and his parents are more accepting, but he's going into this community where any kind of queerness can have extreme consequences. And Pan isn't experiencing maybe like the threat of conversion therapy because his parents are also more accepting, but it really blocks off these ways for him to be able to like explore that in a safe place. And it kind of creates a violence maybe in people who, or maybe a more propensity to violence in people who might have those inclinations, but don't feel available to explore them because of the danger of doing that.
Exactly. And and I'm sure you're aware of this from your education and so forth, that that whenever you suppress something, it will emerge in a different fashion. Or people, often the people who are the most anti-LGBTQ+, these people who express the most anti-feelings are trying to fight their own feelings of this.
Right.
Are trying to be the loudest one to shout against the LGBTQ community, so they are not suspected themselves. And,
right.
and they're dealing with their own sexual orientation crisis they've got. Normal people who are comfortable in their own sexual orientation are not hysterical against the LGBTQ community. They may
right.
be curious about it or not understand it, but they're not hysterically anti. And that's one of the first clues, and so many people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And so there's a broad history there. And just like when some of the, because Max was always trying to show that, because he didn't want people to know his true feelings, he was always trying to show his masculinity and things in different ways, but his fascination with Pan was obviously there.
Yeah.
And throughout the book, and even jealousy. And I'll meet Lauren, one of the other characters in there, when he finds out that Pan is has this kindness and everything for Lauren. It makes him kind of jealous and so forth.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
And but tell us, enlighten us some more about why people might find interesting in this book that you think about that, and some of the other writings. That have you got anything planned for the future here? I might go ahead and ask that. I was going to ask a little bit later, but think about that too, because you've already had some histories here, and you've written several pieces of material, and it's impressive. Your background and everything, and certainly your Fulbright scholarship is impressive, and I believe that was Fulbright. Oh, Lord, did I get the wrong thing?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Okay, yes. 2 minutes. Yeah, and anyway, yes, there's Fulbright program. Yes, you were there. Okay, and Lambda, of course, Literary Award. Okay, Lambda is a well-known name in the LGBTQ community, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me some more about other things that you may have focused you towards writing Boys of Alabama, and things that you hope people will take away from that.
Yeah, I think in writing Boys of Alabama, one thing I really wanted to kind of explore, and one thing that I hope kind of readers will be on a journey with, is this idea of like, what are we willing to go, what lengths are we willing to go through in order to find our own truth? And, you know, when we really kind of are faced with this question um, of doing the thing that's acceptable versus doing the harder thing of um, living into who you are, even if you're not really sure who that is yet. Like, what are the choices that you make? What does that look like? And what are you willing to risk? And what are you willing to kind of let go of in order to have that? You know, also, like, one thing that we didn't quite touch on is there's some magic realism elements in Boys of Alabama. And I think for me, you know, Max has he has this power to bring small plant life and animals back from the dead. And it's a power that he hides from a lot of people because he's kind of afraid of it. He's ashamed of it. He doesn't know how other people will take it. And I really like writing into and exploring magic realism. Not in all my writing, but it is something that can be a recurring theme. And I think, you know, to our conversation earlier, in this instance, I really wanted to look at magic as a metaphor in some ways for queerness. I think there's a lineage of looking at like how magic or some kind of like supernatural event or a monstrosity has been coded or read as queerness throughout like the history of literature. And here I wanted to kind of use this as a way to really investigate Max's feelings about his own identity and sexuality. So, you know, he has this power to heal, and yet he is afraid of it. It's a beautiful gift that he has. It's something that's core to who he is, that can bring life and goodness, and yet he doesn't want to use it because it scares him. And there's a way that we can read that into his own sexual identity, the way that it too can heal him, in the way that he fears the consequences of whatever the unknown is, into living into that and accepting it as part of himself. And, you know, so those were some things that I was really kind of thinking into and writing into and dealing with when I was writing this book that I think might be interesting to other people as they read it. As for what I have coming next, you know, I really believe that you know, we kind of like need to fill our creative wells. And I think I've been in this phase of you know, I kind of exhausted this story that I had in me when I was writing Boys of Alabama. And over the last year, I've really been like, I've been writing, but I haven't really found that next project until recently. I found myself engaged again in more of a deeper, long form project that feels like it's going to be a novel. And it feels really good to be working once again on a longer project, because I think over the last year before that, I was really kind of allowing my creativity to fill back up and taking things in, reading, watching things, like living life, having conversations, doing those things that then become kind of material and fodder for the creative process and for writing.
Excellent. Yes, I noticed that, you know, in your book here, a lot of the characters in there had interesting backgrounds too. They were different parts of them were involved in different things here. So I'm thinking here that let's see here. We're about to run out of time here. We got about 2 minutes left. So I want you to summarize your thoughts, and as we go through the process here, what you want people to take away from this, if you would, please. Okay.
Yeah, what I really hope from people reading this book is that they're able to feel that even if they've never gone to Alabama, even if they've never had these experiences, that there is a certain sort of like truth of the human experience that rings throughout it. You know, I really want to like touch on that core of something that's like universal that people feel even if they haven't experienced the exact same thing as my characters. So really what I'm trying to do in my writing is to represent the truth of our experience. And I hope that people can kind of get lost a little bit in the story of Max and Pan, the story of like an outsider coming to town, reconciling, you know, strange power they have, a secret that they have about who they are, and trying to going through the motions of uncovering like what that means in their new context. And I hope it's at once resonant and a way to escape in this time that is a hard time that our country is going through, and that it can provide a little bit of solace and fun and escapism, and also emotional resonance.
Excellent. Yes, that's a good way to put it, because a lot of people that needs escapism at this point in the country, with everything that's happened here in the past year. We have a lot of changes we've been through. A lot of people, if people a year ago would have said we'd be going through what we're going through right now, no one would have believed it, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of us wouldn't. But Genevieve, it's been so great to have you here today, and I am hoping that we get to see more of your work in the future, and I'm hoping again that we get to see you at Miami Book Fair at some point in the future. And it's a thrill to have you here, and your book is absolutely fascinating. It's Boys of Alabama. I want our listeners to go and look it up, and to your local bookstore or wherever. And where can it be bought at, Genevieve? Where can the book be bought?
I'm recommending that people go to, you can buy it in any of your local bookstores. You can buy it, anywhere you can get books. But I'm really trying to direct people to bookshop.org. That's a great place that helps support local books. And you can type in where you are, and they'll find a local bookstore, and they'll set you up with the book. So bookshop.org is a great place to go as a resource.
Thank you so much, Genevieve, and it's been a thrill having you here, and look forward to talking to you in the future again. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and we hope you have enjoyed today's discussion. This has been Coastal Progressive and Rainbow Forum on Society Bites Radio, and I have been your host, Steve Ryan.